So, what personality does it take to become a CRNA? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk all about that, step by step, and keep watching. My name is Christine, and welcome to a new video. If you're new here and you want to become a CRNA or grow your CRNA career, start now by subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss any content at all. We think about it. What personality does it take to become a CRNA? You might be a person that's very quiet, maybe more introverted, or you may be a person that's very extroverted and very vibrant and very flamboyant. Or you may be a person who's just in between. You know, it depends on the moment. Maybe I'm going to be a very exciting person, maybe I'm going to be a very relaxed person. Maybe you're a person who's really, really smart, but clinically, you're not really great with patients. While you might be a person that is very great clinically, but sometimes when you think about the book smarts, you may not be there. And the thing about it all is that we need a variety of personalities in anesthesia. There's not one specific personality, but there are certain traits that I would recommend to go into anesthesia. And here, I'm going to talk all about that, so don't miss one tip because you don't want to miss your personality type and to make sure that you're on the right road or the right personality type for CRNAs. So, as a CRNA, we're very hardworking, we're very into anesthesia, and the one thing about being a CRNA, you have to be willing to be open-minded, willing to accept change and accept learning new different techniques because yes, you might develop this certain cocktail that works, but you got to be able to kind of maneuver things because the one thing about anesthesia, the patient population that you're dealing with is not just this patient who is healthy and young and don't have any medical conditions. When you're in the anesthesia practice, you have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information of different types of patients. You will have patients who come in who has multiple comorbidities, multiple conditions that are affecting them, their day-to-day life, while you may have patients who are very healthy. You may have very young patients, young babies that you're taking care of. You might have really elderly population. Also, when you think about anesthesia, you have patients that you're providing all different types of anesthetic plans. You may do some regional anesthetics. You might use some general anesthetics. You might do some deep sedation anesthetics or something called TIVA anesthetics where you're basically getting something called propofol, which you get them really nice and deep with the breathing on their own, and they're still nice and comfortable. And there's no general anesthetics on board, meaning anesthesia gases. So there's a wealth of different type of techniques that you're learning as a CRNA, and every day you're learning. Yes, it may not be a full-blown educational experience, but you're going to deal with all different types of patients, all different types of populations, as well as the people you're working with. You have to have the personalities willing to learn and grow from other people, because it's not only just you. You have to work as a team. You have your surgeon, you have your techs, you have your nurses that you work with, you have your auxiliary staff, you have, of course, your anesthesiologist. Maybe you're working as a CRNA on your own. So there's a wealth of different people that you're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So the main thing I would say is to have some flexibility, willing to kind of maneuver some bit, because everything is not just A, B, C, D. A may come before C may come before Z, or Z might come before A. It all varies and it's always changing. And so you have to be a person that's flexible, that's willing to maneuver things. And yes, you might be a person who just loves going in that one straight line, but sometimes that one straight line might hurt you in the end. Another thing I would say is you have to be humble, because sometimes there are some people who are out there who are in anesthesia, and it's normal. We all have different personalities. But there'll be a situation that you may think that you're a cowboy, that you're doing all these different things, and maybe trying to test the waters, but it may not be the safe anesthetic plan. Maybe you might be trying different things that are not really the best interest to your patients, or you might just get a little lazy and not follow through with your plan. And those things can burn you. And the last thing you want to do is hurt someone. And the last thing you want to do is to hurt yourself and hurt your practice. So it's very important to, of course, be confident, be successful, be willing to learn, be willing to be confident in your ways of practice, but at the same time, be humble, okay? Because there are things and there's days where you'll have a great, amazing day. You're like, wow, I'm a CRNA, I'm doing a great job. When there'll be days where you're like, oh my gosh, this was a very difficult day, it was stressful. What can I learn from this day? What can I do better next time? So it's important to be humble. Another thing I could think about as a personality to go into CRNA practice, you got to be professional. In general, in the medical field, you're working with multiple different patients, multiple different populations, multiple different staff. It's an interdisciplinary team. You have to be professional, and you have to accept criticism and be open to criticism, as well as be professional with whoever you're working with. Because at the end of the day, it's a team. We're a team. And someone might say something to you, and you may say, I don't want to do that. I'm never going to try it. Or you might be in a situation where you're thinking about yourself and not others, and that can burn you in the end. And you may speak to someone that's not professional. You're in a working environment, and you want to have a great experience as an employee. And at the end of the day, the one thing I could tell you about anesthesia is a very small knit group. It's a small group of CRNAs. You may think, oh wow, there's this many thousand CRNAs, but in general, anesthesia or CRNA, nurse anesthesia, is a very competitive environment. And the people who do graduate, of course, there's good and bad, ins and outs, different personalities. But at the end of the day, if something happens, if you're not professional in one environment, let me tell you right now, down the line, someone will hear it. And then if you try to find another job, no one's going to want to work with you. So it's very important to be professional and try your best. I mean, we're not perfect. We're here to learn. And you may have a situation where you may not have been the most professional, but maybe it's okay to let that ego down and say, I'm sorry. Or let that ego down and say, hey, you know what? I mean, this was how I felt, and just have a communication, because communication's everything, even with all relationships, with all your friends, with your family. Without communication, there's nothing, because you can't read someone. You may be able to read some nonverbal communication, but be willing to open your mouth and speak and communicate is so essential. Because you may see something, you need to communicate to that surgeon, like, hey, I see these different changes on this patient. What is going on down there in surgery? Is this patient bleeding out? Patient becoming very hypotensive and tachycardic. Maybe your patient is, you see things struggling, or the procedure's taking longer than usual, or there's something that changed. You need to communicate. You need to communicate with your surgeon. You need to communicate with your staff. You need to communicate, because if something is going on, you don't want to wait till the end of the situation and you're hurting your patient. You want to make sure that you're trying your best. And we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But it's okay. We're here to learn and grow. But not only learn and grow, we want to be the best professional as we can be. In general, you may say to yourself, I am an extroverted personality, or I'm an introverted personality. We need all types of personalities in anesthesia. There's no specific personality that is specific for one profession. We need a melting pot of personalities. We need, really type A personality, we need type B personality, because we all have our positives and negatives to each one of them. In my opinion, this is my opinion, I don't feel one personality is better than the other, because at the end of the day, we're all unique and different. And you might provide something, maybe you're not a type A person, maybe you're a type B person, but you might come into a situation and see something in another way, versus a type A person, you may see something that is very unique to yourself. So we need a diversity of personalities in anesthesia practice, which is so important. We need those book smart people who are really good at the content as well. We need people who really know how to treat a patient right and how to be really strong in clinical practice. And the one thing about it as well, you can learn from each other and grow with each other. Because, hey, I may see something and I'll be like, hey, I do something this way, and this is my personality type. But you may see it from another perspective and say, hey, I like that. Can I learn from you? Can I grow from you? And that's the one thing about anesthesia, is that I feel, in my opinion, that we're all willing to learn and grow. I mean, even in my opinion, when I've been practicing, there'll be CRNAs for 20, 30 years, right? But I've still had situations where they're like, oh, I like how you did that. Can I take that from you? Or what do you do in this situation? Vice versa. When I see someone who's been experienced CRNA for many years, I love picking their brain. I love learning from other people, because I don't know everything. You have that wealth of knowledge for many years that I can learn from. While maybe I am more a seasonal CRNA, that I know more of the evidence-based practice, more of the up-to-date information, and I can also give you a wealth of knowledge. So always make sure, with all different personality types, it's very important to learn and grow from each other, because the biggest thing about the personality type, that's the bonus thing, I would say, is that you're just willing to learn and grow. Be compassionate, okay? Try to provide holistic care. And of course, try to get into that whole evidence-based practice, continuously learning and growing, keeping yourself up to date on different anesthetic techniques. Willing to grow, go to conferences and travel the world, and see how things are done differently. You may not want to travel to another country. Maybe you may want to go to a local area. Maybe that's 30, 40 minutes away. They may have a conference, right? Versus me, I will travel the distance. I will go to South Africa and go to a conference and travel the world. But we're all different personality types. So I hope this is definitely here to motivate you and say to you that, yes, I know you may feel that maybe I don't have the personality to be a CRNA, but yes, you do. You have that personality. You just got to stay positive and have that mindset for success. Because if I did it, you can do it. And you just got to believe in yourself. At the end of the day, you can do anything you put your mind to. And the mind is so powerful. And I'm here to encourage you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you want to learn more about CRNAs and the practice of CRNAs, definitely click one of these videos over here. And I'll see you in the next video.